Peace, family. So y'all bring y'all here to the beauty of nature with me, so we could talk to you about your natural health and what you're turning yourself into. Because odds is against you. So at this point, if you ain't learning how to survive and succeed and thrive, you're setting ourselves up to die. So let's have a talk about all that this world has prepared for you: the black, the brown, the yellow, and the poor. Because there is a plan for you. So we talk about genetically modified foods a lot, right? We have to know that as the descendants of indigenous people, we were the first to make hybrids, the first to modify organisms, the first to study genetics, right? All of this begins with us. We made a lemon because we needed more citrus energy. So we bred plants back in the day, thousands of years ago, to make lemons, to make all kinds of things. A lot of things. Carrots, orange carrots. They back in the days, carrots used to be purple, white, black, all kinds. Most of the things that we made. We grew corn in the Americas from a small seed, a little small grass seed, to a big cob of corn like you can get nowadays. Now, these European scientists took that understanding, which they got from the Arab scholars who collected all the wisdom of the ancient civilizations of India, Egypt, Ethiopia, the Middle East, and other places, right? And then they preserved them during the era when Europeans was burning all the books. So thanks to the Arabs, we still have some of this knowledge from those days because the Europeans wasn't going to preserve it. Um, and so we got a record of when they first started doing biological warfare. And we're talking about Europeans, you know what I mean? Dropping dead bodies in the river. The Romans was doing that. Then they went to the smallpox blankets by the time they got to the Americas. But in between that time, they figured out a lot. They figured out how to make metal, and in the process, they ended up polluting the earth by smelting and pouring fumes into the earth thousands of years ago. And now you look all around, there's factories bellowing out smoke everywhere, especially in urban communities, so that we can have areas like in Mississippi, they got a strip of land known as Cancer Alley because there's so much carcinogens, pollutants, and poisons just in that one area that the majority of the people there are sick and dying from cancer. Now, you tell me what race you think them people is. What race is the people that live in Flint, Michigan that's affected by that water? What race is the people that's affected by the pipeline going through North Dakota? It definitely ain't the white people of Bismarck because they voted against it and they got their way. So they poisoning the people right next door. That's what? Indigenous. Black, brown, we need to stop fighting over what kind of rights we get from the white man and what kind of treaties that he signed with us because he ain't honored a treaty with nobody never. So rather than waiting on our due from him, we need to do for each other. And the first thing that we can do before we do for each other is we got to see each other. We need to see what we're going through. Land is being poisoned, the air is being poisoned, the water is being poisoned. It's all with a purpose. The kind of medical treatments that we get were developed for white people. They study these things on white lab mice. Why? Because they bred the white lab mice the same way white people came to be on this planet. Don't you know lab mice started out as brown field mice? They bred them to make them white to test the effects of their medicines on white people's recessive genetics, which means it has a different effect on you, which is why all this stuff is in the Hood Health Handbook, by the way. And in the Hood Health Handbook, we talk about how they're trying to make drugs and different chemical agents that are specifically targeted towards your body's biochemistry, your genetics, killing off your ability to either live or reproduce. You think all these drugs we taking is helping us and making us have more babies? No, they're making us sterile. That's why dudes can't get it up no more at the age of 30. There's a plan behind that. The forced sterilization that's happening in India, the way that the Israeli government flew in the original Ethiopian Jews just to sterilize them and send them back, there's a reason behind all that. White people are concerned about the genetic legacy. They want to live forever, even though they know this earth is not for them and it was never meant for them to live forever. All their holy books, scriptures, myths, and records tell them 6,000 years was their time. They father time, the Greek god Chronos. They know all this from thousands of years ago, and they still talk about it to this day. When Malthus came out with his population estimates and said we got overpopulation, we need to kill off this much of the globe, and they started coming out with population control, that was nothing new. They had been doing that since back in the days. It's just that back in the ancient times, white folks was a minority. They had to get their way by figuring out how to manipulate the downfall of ancient civilizations. Just study the records, you can see this for fact. I'm not exaggerating, and this is why I write history books, so that it could be documented, so that you don't think I'm just another talking head with rhetoric to share. White people even know this, and they can't figure out what to do because the poor white folks is always the poor white folks. the laborers, the people in the field, the people that's red and sunburnt like Esau from doing all the work, for the people that live in the tent, the people of the book, the people that were literate. You know how many illiterate white Americans it is that follow the leadership of the literate white Americans? No matter that the literate white Americans is robbing them, raping them, and planning for their death, sending them off to go die in a war that they won't benefit from. This is designed to get around just a minority of people. It's not even for the benefit of all white people, but all white people participate thinking that they one day gonna get the benefits. But guess what? It's white folks living on Cancer Alley too. It's white folks that are being the most affected by these changes in healthcare. It's middle class and lower middle class. There really ain't no middle class. The middle class only exists as a buffer to keep the poor from eating the rich. But the idea, the people that live in the idea of being middle class are now being shaken out of that idea and realizing they are really poor because they cannot afford healthcare. And that's what they meant to do right now. They're going to tax this budget. They're going to wear it out. They're going to basically pillage this government from the inside out. And white people are going to watch them do it. And then we're going to see what white people think of white people. Because this is the thing. We have so much working against us right now as the descendants of indigenous people that it's really in our best interest to learn how to develop trust, communication, confidence with each other. Because we've been stripped of all that. We've been taught to hate and distrust each other. We got so much bitterness in us that we hate ourselves. We committing suicide like never before. We didn't used to commit suicide. None of us, indigenous people nowhere in the world, from the Inuits to the San people in South Africa, suicide was unheard of. Illegitimate children was unheard of. We raised all the babies, no matter who they was. We didn't even have jails. We didn't have deviants. And if we did have a deviant, we would counsel them. If we had a criminal, we would bring the whole community together to let them know they was wrong. And if they couldn't getting right, we'd exile them. Now we don't even love our own. We was taught to be that way. But yet we hold them in a high regard because we think they're the authors of our reality. And really, indigenous people got to come back to the realization that we're the authors of this divine reality. We're the ones that made this game go this way, and we need to know what we're up against so that we can win this game. We made it this way for a reason. We've been around for way longer than 6,000 years, and some of us lose sight of that. Some of us lose sight of the fact that we've been sustaining natural health for millions of years. Millions. Natural ways of living, a natural ecosystem that didn't turn on us, wasn't trying to kick us off the planet for millions of years. And now here we are. The question is, what you gonna do about it? The key is, first step is educate yourself. You don't know where the books can be found? You can start at my site. Just look up Supreme Understanding of Supreme Design Publishing on Amazon, on Google, anywhere, at any bookstore, especially a black bookstore. Support black bookstores. And you can find what you're looking for, the solution to every problem you're talking about. Talking about health, 2 whole volumes to help us get back to our best health. For our baby's sake, for our next generation's sake. Can't keep on trusting people that don't put their babies out there for you to know that they're working for the benefit of the next generation. Because some of these people is only working for the benefit of this generation, meaning themselves, meaning their pockets. You gotta know who you're dealing with. You can't follow everybody, but you gotta go somewhere. You know what I mean? Because staying put right now, it ain't the move. So invest in yourself, educate yourself, start making changes. It ain't hard, I put baby steps in my books, not big unrealistic things that people can do within their means and within their budget. Because we gotta change. Because the odds is definitely against us. I ain't even told you everything. There's a reason why there's 2 volumes of that Hood Health Handbook. But guess what? Along with all them problems, it's solutions. It's solutions. What we need right now is solutions. And if I don't do nothing else, that's what I'm here to give you. Peace. Love y'all.